In Minneapolis. Mike, I mean, what a winter wonderland there behind you. How much snow did you end up with?
Well, so far, Jen, just a picture-perfect scene here in the Twin Cities.
It really is a beautiful snow. Of course, it has its travel issues, as we know, but when you look out the window and you look at your scene right there, it looks just lovely. Be careful with the shoveling, though. You mentioned that good packable snow. That's also a heavy snow when it comes to trying to shovel it. So little shovels. Mike Seidel, thank you. Let's get to the other areas that are seeing snowfall here across parts of the upper Midwest. You know, the upper level low that's spinning, causing the snow that Mike is still getting out there, is not really going anywhere very quickly. So we're going to be stuck with this. There is a winter weather advisory through 6 o'clock tonight. Another couple of inches, maybe 3 to 5 across this zone up into the UP of Michigan. We could get maybe 8 to 12 inches of snow watching you around Marquette. And there might even be a little bit of lake enhancement happening off of Lake Michigan, too, across western lower Michigan. Now, that's the upper level low. Look at this big swirly thing we got going on out here. By the way, what a satellite picture we have all over the nation today. There's so much happening. And this is, you see, it's almost retrograding, moving to the west a little bit. These kind of situations always stick around a little bit longer than they're supposed to. So just a heads up on that. We'll see if the snow really does taper off by this evening. At the very least, you'll keep the clouds around from the upper level low because it's just so slow to move out. There's nothing to kick it, right? We've got a system coming in the west, but that also is going to be moving slowly. So this is kind of stuck right here. We do have some challenges at the airport. Mike talked about some of the cancellations. We were under a ground delay program. Looks like that's not in effect right now, but anticipating delays through the day today just because of the weather. And we're looking at those winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings still in effect through this evening. So to time it out for you, snow showers through the afternoon, evening, things start to taper off, but not necessarily gone. Thursday, we still have some of this swirling around across Wisconsin and Michigan. And then finally by Friday, then we can kick this out and the colder air does come in. And by the way, then it heads to the northeast. So we will be talking about that as well. Lynette? All right, Alex. And by the way, today's the kind of day where you wear your rain boots in the morning and then they look ridiculous in the afternoon because it's sunny.
Absolutely.
Yes. Exactly. You know. All right. Thank you for being out there, and hopefully everyone stays safe there. On the other reports that we've seen of flooding on roads, in homes, we've got a lot of wind reports coming in as well. Throughout the southeast, the Ohio Valley, the Kentucky Valley, the Tennessee Valley, the Midwest, we had hail all the way up to Waukegan in Illinois. So really wide-reaching. Scottsboro, Alabama, we had rainfall that was very heavy, leaving 6 inches of water over the road at Parks Avenue and Dover Street. We also had in Tunica, Mississippi, 6 homes filled with roughly 6 inches of water around downtown Tunica. Problems in Memphis because of flooding yesterday. And then the windy side of things that happened last night. Chattanooga wind gusted to 58. In Cleveland, Tennessee, saw some reports of trees down nearby there. Chamblee, Georgia, coming in with winds gusting over 65 miles per hour. So really strong winds creating some damage. Now, here's a look at the rainfall and very widespread heavy rainfall. And following some of the storm reports, it's interesting. They just follow the path just like this. I saw them kind of lined up from Arkansas through West Tennessee, Western Kentucky. It wasn't necessarily in Louisville, but just south of there, like around Mount Washington and Shepherdsville. Big rain causing some big problems. Birmingham points east. A lot of folks inundated with some water and leading to issues on the roadways, too. A lot of accidents. That always happens when it rains. The number of accidents do increase, unfortunately. Now, a flood watch is still in effect, and the scene, like you saw with the Pacasset River, is still going to be up. I mean, that kind of water doesn't go away pretty quickly. The roads will improve as the rain goes away today, but certainly watching for some of those areas that are just prone to flooding, perhaps a little bit longer dealing with issues. And then the storms itself, they're going to be tracking through eastern North Carolina, South Carolina, southeast Georgia, and northern Florida right through the afternoon. All right, then let's take you into some specific scenes here. Snow covered.
They are snow covered and snowpacked. There they are. We haven't seen them. Things should ease up tomorrow with some sunshine and temperatures. Well, tomorrow's temps won't be that different than today, but then it gets cold as we go into Friday, Saturday, and sunny. But doesn't get any prettier than this, with the only impact really the highways and the airports. Thankfully,
we are going to be watching some changes coming your way there in the upper Midwest, but for now we're stuck with the upper level low. The story in the south has been the thunderstorms on the move, and so I want to take you into that right now. We do have a tornado watch, actually 2 of them in effect. First goes till noon, and that does include Albany, Georgia. It extends up like this all the way down through the Florida Panhandle. But as the storms exit the area, this will be, the back edge will be cut of this. The new watch goes until 2 o'clock, and that includes Columbia and South Carolina. Carolina, Savannah, Brunswick, Georgia, all the way down into Lake City in Florida. So here's where we are right now. Again, watching the line of thunderstorms along it. There's a couple of zones where the winds may be getting up to severe strength, which is 60 miles per hour or greater. One in Georgia, moving into South Carolina, and another couple down here in Florida, moving up into Georgia. So we've got this part of the line, which does take it into Bainbridge, Georgia, including around Mariana and Florida, also in Quinney. This goes until 10:30 local time. Strong winds, maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour, could take down some trees. That could be a travel hazard if those are down in your street. You don't want to be parking your car under a tree either, just in case some tree limbs come down. The storms themselves do extend all the way down now just to the east of Panama City, so right around Mexico Beach and Tyndall Air Force Base. And we also have Apalachicola and Port St. Joe looking at that potential for strong, damaging winds. That whole zone down there may see that. So really be on guard as these storms come moving in. We take you up to Augusta in Georgia, where we've got a severe thunderstorm warning. A difference on this warning is that there's a tag on it for tornado possible. So that is a concern. You know, along these lines of thunderstorms, we watch for any areas of potential rotation. You got to watch this one in particular just because of the way it's kinking right here, but nothing yet that warrants a tornado warning, just something to be on guard for. In Waynesboro, you're under the severe thunderstorm warning. I would just make sure you have a heads up that you might need to be seeking shelter. Let's time it out as this line progresses eastbound with Lynette. Yeah, that is going to be important to make good decisions. And there are some evacuation orders, like it's all around the lake fire burn scar, the Bobcat fire burn scar. So if you're under an evacuation order, you need to heed it. We've got a lot of moisture coming in, and the concern is real for mudslides.
Definitely. And this is going to go through Sunday. And we're going to actually see a couple of these events happening. And we've been talking about the atmospheric river. And so we talk about the event and what category are we in. Too bad we're not in the one. That means primarily beneficial. So that means that they're just getting the rain that they need. But we're not in that category, Jen.
No, we were in a 3 this time. Balance of beneficial and hazardous. And it has to do with the amount of moisture coming in, but also the length of time. And you look back at the preceding conditions and what we've been dealing with. So there's going to be big impact, high amounts of moisture. It will last for a couple of days. And then we have another system coming in after this too, which is going to exacerbate the whole situation.
Exactly. And that's why we do have some flash flooding that's likely as we head in through tomorrow morning.
So watching for heavy rainfall, the whole Bay Area, you guys no stranger to this because of the rain we've had recently, but watch for, I think, even more problems this time just because of how much rain we've had recently. We just had our second wettest day on record in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and it goes all the way down to Los Angeles and Santa Barbara as well. So as we time this out for you, we can see this. So 7 o'clock in the morning, we're dealing with that rain coming in across the area. We continue this through the day. We can see more moisture just pulling in. We're also going to get some mountain snow out there as well.
Yeah, and snow levels for now pretty high, but they'll come down with the next system that comes on in. You watch all this rainfall. So this is system number 1 through midday at least tomorrow. And then we see the next one here by Saturday. So rain back into the picture in the very same areas. Snow levels will be dropping this time too. And both of these systems will bring some wind. This one in particular, some exceptional wind, maybe even 50 or 60 miles per hour.
Yes, and at the highest levels, possibly maybe even 70. So we do have those high wind warnings going on for that deep purple coloring there. And then you have those wind advisories on the interior.
So let's take a look at that aspect of it with the wind. That's going to cause power outages, could take some trees down as well. Look at it, Point Arena, 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. That's this morning in the forecast. As we continue to advance this out, you'll see winds gusting in San Francisco, 40 to 50. Sacramento, we could see 40 to 50. And that is a south wind as we watch the system push on shore. We're going to see the wind direction change once it does. And then behind the system, you get into that west wind, still gusty. And then here comes our next one, again, bringing some gusty winds.
Yeah, so before it's all said and done, we're talking about tropical storm force winds really pushing in across the area. So it's going to be a rough go of things as we continue through the next several days, Jen.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So,
and I actually thought ahead and I packed a different pair of shoes that I can switch into so that I won't be the crazy person wearing rain boots when I leave here.
See, I knew you would, and that's why I said it. You're always prepared when it comes to shoes.
Yeah.
It is that kind of day, though.
We're always thinking ahead.
Yeah. Always forecasting. Always forecasting.
Yeah.
Alex, thank you for the updates out there. Yes, through the south, you will get clearing at Columbia under that tornado watch. Now, Charleston's not in it, but you do have the chance for severe weather today. So we'll keep an eye on that. We've got possible storms going severe all the way down here into the Florida Panhandle, where this morning, some of the wind gusts that we've seen so far have been about 40, close to 45 miles per hour. I just saw one of those reports coming in down here just to the west of Panama City. Now, let's zoom into some of the warned areas. That's the areas outlined outlined in yellow, severe thunderstorm warnings for strong damaging wind potential in parts of Grady, Mitchell, and Thomas County here in South Georgia. That does include Thomasville, Moultrie, and Cairo. We've got right now that line moving in with that potential for the strong damaging winds. The heavy rain will also be a concern. Like Alex was just showing us, it makes a mess of a rush hour, and it's coming in this morning for you there and into Augusta. We've got rain coming into Augusta, Evans, and Gracewood. Rain here is heavy at times. It's now right overhead in Augusta. Plus, on this particular warning, we've got the tornado possible tag. So watching along this line, and it's along a line of thunderstorms, is there a little bit of a potential for rotation, maybe just south of Augusta, watching this little notch on the radar. Not enough to warrant a tornado warning, but we track it out for you so you know where this is headed and time it for you to Beach Island at 9:51, New Ellington at 10:07, Barnwell tracking this line of thunderstorms to you at 10:32, Allendale 10:40, and Bamberg at 10:57. So there's your heads up. You want to try to avoid going out in that storm. Make sure you're able to get into a safe shelter should you be under any tornado warnings. Now, the rain in Atlanta, as Alex talked about, is starting to move on out. Things are drying up. We're still under the flash flood warning here until noon. It just takes time for some of those bigger puddles to all go down completely. For any streams and creeks, that could take a little bit longer. So make sure you keep kids away from playing near those today. And when it comes to the tornado threat later on today, we do have a 2 all the way up into the Piedmont of North Carolina, including around the Triangle. So heads up as storms move in your direction. Lynette, we still have snow out there, too.
Thanks for choosing America's Morning Headquarters as we extend our day to get you through yours.
The Weather Channel will track all the threats facing you and your family throughout this evening to make sure that you stay safe. Storms in the south have been something ongoing for the past, 36 hours now.
Yeah, and they're not stopping anytime soon. They're just moving more off towards the east.
Yeah, at least they are moving. So we're going to show you where that is, show you what we're going to find today. Storms could be severe, and all modes are possible. Most likely damaging winds. There is that tornado threat. We've got a 3 on the Torcon in this area, and the risk may extend all the way up in North Carolina. We've got thunderstorms right now coming through Charlotte, and they're heading out on the east side of town. Winston-Salem, Greensboro. We've got some thunderstorms there, and then heading over towards Chapel Hill in the Raleigh area as we get through the afternoon. Southward we go with thunderstorms lined up. We've got a line stretching from South Carolina right through Georgia and into the Florida Panhandle, bringing with it a lot of lightning, heavy rain, as well as the risk for strong damaging winds in parts of Franklin, Leon, and Wakulla County. This includes Tallahassee. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning for strong winds here. I'm really watching this line coming in. As this tracks in, we could see that potential for winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Most of the winds so far have been in that 40 to 50-ish range so far today, but certainly that potential is there, which is why that warning has been issued. We jump it up here into Georgia, where Grady, Mitchell, Thomas, parts of these counties under a severe thunderstorm warning. This goes until 10:30. Watching as this line comes in, it's tracking right over Highway 19. Thomasville, it's heading in your direction. Highway 319 will be affected by that rain in that zone. And then Augusta, the worst of the weather now is moving east of town. You can see that line heading towards Aiken in South Carolina. Waynesboro, the worst of the weather through in terms of those strong gusty winds, but you're in some pretty steady rain, and there's actually a bit more yet to come and filling in behind it. So you're in for some tough travel there. Oh, let's go back for a second. Tornado warning just popped. I just saw that in that last frame of that. There we go. So we've been watching this line of thunderstorms. Jensen, thank you for working on this. This line of thunderstorms, and along these lines like this, you watch for any areas of rotation. This is a common situation in the southeast with thunderstorms like this. And watching in this zone right in here near Ward and just south of there, this includes parts of Aiken and Edgefield counties. Saluda County as well is included in this. It's a small little subtle area, but right near Ward is the area to watch. And so that's where there's some potential rotation. We'll keep an eye on this for you. Again, the National Weather Service issuing a tornado warning as this cell continues to push towards the east. It's kind of swinging a little up to the north as well, watching it move just like this. So even though Batesburg and Leesville, you're outside of that tornado warning right now, just want to make sure you have a heads up and time it out in your direction. First up is Ridge Spring, which comes in at 10:07, Batesburg and Leesville 10:24, and then now again, we're outside of the tornado warning, but just to give you a heads up, Gilbert 10:40, Elsie at 10:47, and then Lexington in South Carolina at 11 a.m. So tracking this whole line in that direction. There's a lot of thunder, there's a lot of lightning, there's a lot of loud thunder with this, heavy rainfall, all of it. And again, you may see a brief area of rotation, which could cause some damage. The line itself may cause some damage just with the strong winds coming out of it. So you stay away from any areas where trees may come down. You don't want to get injured. Let's jump down to some other cities going to be affected by severe weather. The days of snow can even slow down families that are used to dealing with harsh weather conditions. Meteorologist Mike Seidel shows us how problems are doubling up in the Twin Cities. Mike, it really is pretty. But with those warmer temperatures, take advantage. Get your driveway shoveled. Just take it slow, because that kind of snow is what we call heart attack snow, right? So take it slow, small little shovels worth, and just get it done while the temperatures, though, are still mild. Now, another couple inches to go. We still have a winter weather advisory in Minneapolis. We'll get a bit more up around the lakes, and we might even see some snow swing over here into the western part of lower Michigan. The reason this is still happening while we're still getting snowflakes out there is the upper level low hasn't gone anywhere, and it's not going to go anywhere today. It's actually retrograding. Watch it. See, the position starts over here, right there, and then it moves westbound. So with, this kind of upper level low sticking around, it's not the strongest of situations where you'll see really heavy snow, but you'll see some, and we're going to keep that going through today, which is why you have at least 1 to 3, maybe even 5 to 7 inches of snow, especially to the north. We're getting some heavier amounts up around Duluth right now. Heavy snow, blowing snow. We've got winds gusting to nearly 30 miles per hour. We're still under a winter storm warning through this evening. Never trust an upper level low. That's what I always say. They always stick around a little bit longer. And this guy is going to stick around at least through tomorrow. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're still seeing the snow showers flying around. Maybe by 9 it starts to taper off, but still then snowing into Wisconsin. So Green Bay, we pick up a little bit, and we see a light coating of snow move over again across parts of lower Michigan. Just mainly, I think, closer to the lakes, getting a little influence there. Then jumping into the northeast. Now, the thing about this whole weather pattern is that the system that we're tracking, the low off the coast, is going to be bringing the moisture up here. And where we have some cold air, we'll change over from rain to maybe a wintry mix and then to snow, especially up where we have some mountain locations. That's why winter weather advisory is up starting later today and going through tomorrow. For a lot of you, you start as rain, you see that, and then we'll be watching for that changeover. Some colder air kind of drops on in. Portland, you're going to be on that line where it's rain, snow, or a mix of things. Concord, same thing. But to the north, we'll change over to snow and hopefully get a little snow for the ski resorts up here, Lynette.
Yeah, it's exciting time.
So much going on yesterday that it was the multitude of events that they were going to do their surveys today. Plus, there was so much rain, and that was really the bulk of the storm reports. Flooding. We had that from Kentucky through western Tennessee, like around the Memphis area, where water actually got into some apartments there in West Memphis. Tunica, Mississippi, had about 6 homes with about 6 inches of water in there as well. And just near the Louisville area up into Big Spring, we had rainfall nearly 6 inches. And it wasn't the only area. There was a lot of spots. Got to point out that we had hail and strong winds all the way north into northern Illinois, including up around Waukegan, where you had some hail yesterday, and a lot of trees down too into parts of the south with those thunderstorms in Alabama. Now, some of the rainfall totals were just tremendous, with nearly 5 to 6 inches of rain. A lot of this coming down within just, a couple of hour time frame. It didn't take 48 hours to do it. All the way from Arkansas to just south of Louisville and Kentucky, a zone of that much rainfall. We had another zone of very heavy rain stretching from southeastern Mississippi through Alabama into Georgia, and that's why all the traffic problems this morning. Thankfully, the rain has moved out of these areas, but it's heading east. So let's pick it up there with the forecast, Lynette.
And yeah, it's been a warm and
we're shaking there too. We are going to be watching for thunderstorms as we get through the day today with potential for severe. Tornado watches are up. The one over here to the east, including Columbia and South Carolina, and Savannah, Brunswick, Lake City, and Florida. This goes until 2 o'clock this afternoon. So watching this whole zone, thunderstorms have been moving into this area. This is the area that we're going to watch for the potential of severe weather. In the back edge, I would say from Dothan to Panama City, even down towards Port St. Joe, you're doing better right now. So we can kind of cut off that, let me draw that in white, cut off that area where the storms are already through. But we're still getting into it right here, right now in Columbia, South Carolina. That top end of the line of thunderstorms now just moving in your direction. We're going to move up the line from south to north, starting down here where, again, mentioned Port St. Joe. Look, it's all through for you. Apalachicola, the worst of it is through. Tallahassee, we are now getting into the worst of the weather. And you're under a severe thunderstorm warning in Tallahassee, Wassissa, and Woodville. You drop south to St. Mark's. You're also under that severe thunderstorm warning. The concern is that winds could gust in excess of 60 miles per hour. Let's go north here along the line, and we're keeping an eye around Thomasville, Georgia. That severe thunderstorm warning now issued points east right along I-10 here in the Florida Panhandle. So from Tallahassee eastbound, you're going to be running into some tough weather. It's not there yet. You can see right now we're still in the clear, but this is moving in. And so as that tracks in there, expect some really difficult driving weather. Also, this says a indicator on the warning that says tornado possible. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that potential of rotation within this line of storms. You know, along these lines of thunderstorms, you look at this wave pattern, sometimes you do get these little spin ups. And the same thing is going on up here into South Carolina. Aiken, Barnwell, and Williston are some of the cities in this latest severe thunderstorm warning that has the tag tornado possible. So we're up in South Carolina now, looking around the Barnville well area. This is just near Highway 78. The storm's rolling right over that. Be careful if you can avoid travel. I would, just because of that risk involved with this storm if there is any rotation. Columbia, we're now under a severe thunderstorm warning on the western side of town, and that storm tracking on and may have some strong winds. South side of town, again, as we jump into that tornado warning that's now been issued for Wagoner. And this part of the cell, again, it's a whole line of thunderstorms. This part of the cell exhibiting some rotation based on Doppler radar. This is tracking in this direction, so heading towards north, the community of North. So Wagoner, North, Swansea, all under a tornado warning. This is new. This goes until 11 a.m. So watching right back here, and the law enforcement earlier in this area is much closer, I think, to up around Batesburg. But there was a spin up spotted in the atmosphere. I don't know if it reached all the way to the ground. At least there was a funnel. But so you can get this cycling that happens, and little circulations can happen quick, and then they dissipate, but then they happen again. And so along a line of thunderstorms like this, you really need to be on your guard. Watching right now the area from North, Swansea, then to Wagoner as we track this storm cell on the move. First Wagoner and then to Swansea. 10:35 Wagoner, Swansea, 10:55 St. Matthews, 11:17. We're here in South Carolina. Pinewood, 11:42. We're taking it outside of the warned area just so you can see where this is tracking. And Sumter, again, this is outside of the warning, but just tracking this whole line of thunderstorms in your direction, getting to you about 11:54. So watching for storms across the zone, bringing with them the threat for strong damaging winds, perhaps in excess of 60 miles per hour, but also that threat for spin-ups of tornadoes. And we do have this existing tornado warning for parts of Aiken, Lexington, and Orangeburg counties.
Have on these at this point, and this will be until about 11 o'clock this morning.
There's another storm to the north that's exhibiting rotation under a tornado warning. This does include the city of Lexington in South Carolina. Red Bank, Springdale, you're also in this as well. So watching this cell as it moves quickly here, right over the Lexington area. This is I-20, 378. There's a lot of population here in the path of this one. And this is the zone to look at that apparent rotation right in here. So unfortunately, Lexington, watching that for you. Although, yeah, the next scan just came in. It might have expanded a little bit to the south as well. So we're looking from Lexington down Route 6, watching right into there is where we're likely seeing that apparent rotation. And this is tracking towards Columbia. Now, Columbia is not under a tornado warning. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning in the city of Columbia. But we're tracking this portion of the storm cell. There's been a lot of iterations going on here with the cycling of these thunderstorms. You can get little spin-ups. They can happen quickly, and then they dissipate. And so, really just need to be on your guard, paying attention to warnings. And it doesn't hurt to just maybe go in your safe shelter until this all pushes through, because it is moving fast.
It's moving fast, and you don't know if it's going to be a tornado, if it's not. But the bottom line is that even if it's not, we're still dealing with those damaging gusty winds as well. So as we track this out, about 10:45, we're looking at Red Bank, 11:02 West Columbia. And then by 11:08, that's when we are looking around Columbia, Dennisville, 11:16, and Pontiac at 11:28. So know where you would go, have that safe shelter as of now. And we have tornado warnings, I should say, upon severe thunderstorm warnings as well, with them in there. And now they're kind of like coupled up on top of each other at this point.
So looking at the Doppler velocity to show us where there is rotation. Again, this is in Lexington County, including the city of Lexington, Red Bank, and Springdale under this tornado warning. The circulation area right in here, Lexington just south, Route 6 under that. You're watching I-20 runs right through here as well. So there's certainly a lot of people, potentially cars, that are impacted by this. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other versions of what's happening out here on the different images that we have. So this is our correlation coefficient, which can tell us, is there any kind of dropout? Is there anything else showing up besides rain on the radar, like debris? And let's see, that one image, maybe. No, I would say not really yet. It's still pretty uniform across the area.
I'm not looking at a dropout yet either at this point.
All right, so we'll keep watching that for you as we get new data. But really at this point, if you're under warning, you need to seek shelter. So if you're under warning, like you are right now here in Lexington and Red Bank and Springdale, you want to make sure that you are in your shelter.
Yes, and then we go zoom down a little bit further and we can see this other tornado warning here. And this is for Calhoun, Lexington, Orangeburg. And we're looking at the cities north, Swansea and Woodford as well. This goes until 11 o'clock, just like the other one. And this one looks like it could be crossing 176. And then we go back over to velocity and we try to find that spin where that could be. And you can see that, yeah, Jen pointed out, yeah, right in there. And so when you're looking at that, you're trying to find the reds, some of these oranges here, those reds going away from the radar. When you try to see the greens, that means that they're going towards the radar.
Or maybe up in here too. I mean, there was really a couple of different areas where there could be a small spin up. That shows a storm scale. It doesn't show us that there's actually a tornado. What we look at is other tools like the correlation coefficient, which can show us is there any dropout. And this may be, that may be. It's certainly something to keep an eye on. We'll be looking for reports coming out of storm spotters in this area as well. Again, watching the radar for us. Let's go back to the reflectivity here so we can just show one more time. The warning is up, the tornado warning. This one for Calhoun, Lexington, and Orangeburg. Another one to the north, Lexington.